All right, welcome everybody to this Facebook Live event. Um, it's great to have you all here for this event. I am Sandra Ajao, CEO and founder Sajpointe Health. And as you all know, most of you know, we are in the business of helping international educated nurses migrate to the United States, to Canada, to the UK. We help with the NCLEX review. Will help you prep you for the exam, help you pass the NCLEX, and after that, merge you with reliable agencies to process your migration to the States. We have been doing this for over 6 years now, and we've successfully helped a good number of nurses migrate, and those that are still at the point of I'd say like the pre-arrival, we have like close to 1,000 nurses waiting on that pipeline for the retrogression to come off and, finally get the taste of the United States. All right, it's good to be here. And this is a live event on Canada immigration pathways for foreign trained nurses. It's going to be very informative as we have brought in here our Canada team for Sajpointe, who are very experienced and very informed about this process. And they will be educating us on all we need to know about the pathways and how we can register through Sajpointe. And talking about the team here, I have here with me Barrister Obina Ononuju. Sorry if I murdered that name. It's not intentional, okay? So this is a barrister and solicitor for Saint Aubin Law Office Canada. He has helped multiple individuals gain their permanent residence in Canada. He's been doing this and is very experienced and he knows what he does. He knows his onions. And that's why we Sajpointe are partnering with him to help our nurses, get the best outcome on this journey. And also, I have here with me Mr. Edward Okenwa. That's our head of licensure Sajpointe Canada. He's going to be taking care of our nurses after they finally get the permanent residence, move to Canada, and helping them process that licensure while they are there and communicating with a Nigerian office to ensure that they have a seamless process. Okay, so without talking so much more, I would have Barrister Obina start off with the presentation on the immigration pathways for foreign nurses. And also, please feel free. We want to know where you're joining us from. If you're joining us from Nigeria, you can tell us Nigeria, state the place, the state specifically you're joining us from Nigeria. If you're joining us from the UK, from Canada, from the United States, from Australia, from anywhere in the world, you can simply just type there in the chat box where you're joining us from. We really want to know where you're um, um, joining us from. And also, if you have questions, put it in the chat box. We have an admin who will be collecting those questions and we're going to have them reviewed, answered after the presentation. So if you have anything you want to know about concerning this immigration, trust me, you're going to get that answer. So feel free, drop your questions in the comment section and I will respond to them after this presentation. So I'm going to have Barrister Obina take it from here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sandra. I believe I don't need to reintroduce myself. Welcome to our webinar on Canada immigration pathways for foreign nurses. Wherever you are joining us from, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Today we'll be looking at the opportunities for foreign trained nurses, of course, as well as nursing students. You all have options to migrate to Canada. I would say is a well-known fact that health is prioritized all over the world, and health practitioners, health workers are always in demand. And Canada has actually taken a bold step to attract a lot of foreign trained health workers. In this case, foreign trained nurses. the idea is to close the wide labor gap in Canada. Most hospitals, most care homes are short-staffed. They are currently short-staffed. Of course, the reason is simply because of the influx of immigrants to Canada. A lot of people are coming in, and there is a growing need to expand the facilities, to expand the personnel, healthcare personnel who would be able to match the level of influx with available health services. So in almost all the provinces in Canada, health practitioners are kind of, they are prioritized. They've created special pathways, special avenues to help foreign trained doctors, nurses, and some other healthcare professionals to migrate to Canada. So we're going to be looking at those options for you guys. So the first thing we'll look at will be we'll look at the pathways, available pathways for foreign trained nurses. You can see we have what is called Express Entry Program. I'm very sure almost all of you must have heard about Express Entry Program in Canada. It's a popular program, so I believe everybody knows about that. So under the Express Entry Program, we have what we call the Federal Skilled Worker Program. We have the Provincial Nomination Program. There's also the Canadian Experience Class. And then we have the non-express entry provincial nomination. So we're going to look at all these pathways in addition to the temporary pathway. Under the temporary resident pathway for nurses, we have what is called employer-backed work permit. So what that means is that you can still come to Canada as a temporary resident and then transition to becoming a permanent resident and thereafter a citizen. Now we will talk about the eligibility criteria for this express entry. Is it more like a come one, come all situation? The answer is no. You have to be eligible. You have to meet certain criteria to be able to migrate to Canada under this pathway. So we have the Federal Skilled Worker Program, especially the category-based draws, because this is where you guys have an edge, the category-based draws. Okay, so it's the express entry is generally a system that allows us to create a pool of candidates who may be eligible to immigrate to Canada permanently. So for you to be eligible to at least get in the pool, you will be placed side by side with other candidates, and you get ranked. So what that means is that there are some factors that would be used to award points. We call it the point grade. So under the point grade, you will see some factors that, would impact your score or would even make it possible for you to get in the pool. And in order to remain competitive in the pool, your score needs to be reasonable to be competitive. Okay, so while in the pool, in order to be chosen from the pool and invited to apply for permanent resident, you need to have one of the highest ranking scores when IRCC sends out their invitations. And how do we measure the factors? So we are going to look at the comprehensive ranking scores. Okay, so while you are in the pool, you may be invited depending on what your score is. So your scores would be attributed to the following factors. Age, for instance. The younger, the better. It doesn't mean there is no space for older people, but according to the point grade, if you're 30 and below, you're maxing out all the points available for age. It's over, I believe it's over 115 or thereabout for age. And if you're 30 and above, you also get some points for age factor. Okay, so if you're above 30, in fact, I have clients that are more than 40 and they are still coming in. So it's not um, a disadvantage. Then the next thing would be the language test. You should be able to, score reasonably high. At least if you are able to get up to band 7, CLB 7. I understand you, some of you are already either in the process of writing the language test, whether it's IELTS, CEPIP, PTE, or even TEF for those that are proficient in French. So I believe you might be going through the process of taking the test. So as you know, as much as possible, try to score. In fact, if you can score the maximum, that's fantastic. Okay, but try to make sure that you don't go below band 7, CLB 7. You will get more information about that during your test prep. And again, another factor on that under language would be whether you are proficient in both English language and French. Canada has 2 official languages. So if you're able to take the English test, and you can also take the French test. So you're going to score more than someone who only has just one. But it's not compulsory to be proficient in both, right? You could be proficient in English, and as long as you score reasonably high, you're good to go. Then the next thing is education. Points are awarded according to your level of education. If you've got a PhD, for instance, you will score higher. It means you're going to max out all the available points for education. It's followed by master's degree, then 2 or more certificates, and the last one is bachelor's degree. Okay, so the higher the level of your education, the higher the points. Now, years of work experience, you should have at least 1 year work experience. It shouldn't be less than 1 year. So the more, the better. If you have up to 3 years, 4 years, so it means you're going to be scoring higher. In fact, from 3 years and above, you would be able to max out the available points for work experience. Okay? Well, it doesn't mean you cannot get in the pool or you cannot get ahead with this process. If your work experience is less than 3, you should be able to get ahead as well. Now we'll talk about the next thing here is if you have any brother or sister living in Canada, that would also attract additional 15 points. If you have ever worked in Canada for at least 1 year, is also, you're also getting points from there. If you have studied in Canada for at least 1 year as well, you should be able to get more points from that as well. Then for those that are married, if your spouse is willing to take the language test and also have his or her education certificate assessed, it means you will be getting more points from his or her language score or their education, right? Again, we also have a valid job offer. If you have a job offer from any Canadian employer, you should be getting additional 50 points on top of whatever you've got. All right. So that's basically the eligibility requirement, the criteria for getting in the pool and getting invited for this particular pathway. Then we'll go to a different means of also coming to Canada through what we called provincial nomination programs. So the one I talked about earlier is the federal, is coordinated by the federal government, whereas the provincial nomination programs are provincially based. It means that if you're invited, if you're nominated by the province, you're going to stay in that province. You're supposed to live in that province, unless you have any genuine reason not to live in the province, especially when it has to do with finding a job and stuff like that. But the expectation is that if any province sponsors you by nominating you, you're going to live in that province. So we start with the Alberta Express Entry System. They have a stream called Express Entry. It works just like the federal, right? But what it means is that you have to be in the federal pool. You have to create your account and get in the pool. Then you will not go through the process. The province may invite you from there. Now, Alberta has also the expression of interest pathway, meaning that you can actually express your interest directly to Alberta government through their portal if you want to stay in Alberta. The next one is Saskatchewan. So Saskatchewan is also very close to what Alberta is doing, right? In fact, I would say that Alberta copied from Saskatchewan because Saskatchewan has always had their expression of interest system where you can actually send them your expression and submit your documents. They may invite you and then you follow the process and get nominated. We have the Nova Scotia program. Is one of the best because the process is seamless. The process is seamless, and it's more like they actually are more in demand because it's a smaller province with a smaller population. So they've made their own process to be a bit easy. It's easier than at least Alberta. Then we have the Ontario under what they call human capital priority stream. So this one also works in hand with the Federal Express Entry system. You have to create your profile in the Express Entry pool, and Ontario government might invite you from the pool. Okay, we'll have the British Columbia. They have their BCPMP immigration stream through the healthcare professional category, right? So they've also created a category called healthcare professional, just to target individuals, especially foreign trained individuals who are in the health sector, just like you all. Then we also have Manitoba. Manitoba has what they call rural in-demand occupations in Manitoba. So they want to fill up a lot of gaps in their rural areas as well as the urban areas. So they've opened up and they're also targeting foreign trained nurses and other health professionals. We also have the New Brunswick. It's for registered nurses, licensed practical nurses, and personal support workers. They are in high demand in New Brunswick. We also have the Quebec. For those that also, if you're fluent in French or if you can learn French, it's easier for you to go through Quebec. They also have a seamless process. Well, the only problem people have, especially people from Anglophone countries, or people who are not, you know, who could, who cannot speak French, will be integration, how to integrate when they get there. So they have to struggle with the language. But if that is not a barrier for any one of you, it's also worth trying. So the provincial nomination programs, I think they are more like the easiest, they're more like the lowest hanging fruits. Yeah, the reason is because you have about 10 provinces to cast your net at. So when you cast your net at 10 provinces, it's possible that it's easier to, be nominated by one or two of them within a short time versus sticking to the federal, right? Federal is also good, but provincial nomination is a bit easier. But the approach we are going to take, or we are taking, is a holistic approach. We do not stick to a particular pathway. What we do is to make sure that every candidate we are working with is positioned to obtain the invitation to apply by any of these, levels of government. So we position you, you're available for PMP, you're available for federal, so that whichever comes first, you're good to go. It's a lot of work, but we don't stick to, maybe Arbeta, for instance, we register you with Arbeta and move on. No, we are always strategic because, in fact, provinces are more like competing because they need to get as much health professionals as they could because people are complaining. That is true. People are complaining. When you go to the hospital and you spend some time that you don't expect just to be attended to just because the hospitals are short-staffed. So provinces are under pressure to beef up, to make sure, services are seamless and wait times are reduced. Okay. And then the next thing is the Canadian Experience Class. So this is basically for those who either live in Canada as temporary workers or students, or people who have been here before as a temporary worker or a student, right? So if you had worked or studied in Canada, but you're not living in Canada, you are still qualified under Canadian Experience Class. Okay. So the next thing is the non-express entry provincial nomination. The difference between this and the ones I talked about is that under the express entry provincial nomination, you have to be in the express entry pool, the federal pool. And once the province nominates you, your point increases by 600. So everything happens within the same pool, right? And then you can apply, you can then expect an ITA because your score has already, shot up, right? But this particular one, you don't need to be in the express entry pool. Or assuming you're in the pool and get nominated through this pathway, you don't need to submit your application through the pool. We'll have a special platform where that is, processed. You can submit your PR application direct to the federal government as soon as you're nominated. You don't have to wait again for ITA. Do you understand? So the difference is that for the first one, for the express entry backed PMP, once you're nominated, your score goes up. You wait until federal government invites you to apply. That's one. But for the non-express entry, you do not need to wait for the federal government to invite you to apply. Once you've got your nomination, you go straight and apply for your PR. Okay? So some provinces also have this type of provincial nomination. They have the non-express entry pathway as well. Okay? Then temporary resident pathway. This is specifically for those who can work in Canada as that registered nurse or LPN right? RN or LPN. You go through the portal. We have Job Bank, you have Indeed, you have Career All. Those are job sites. But we have what we call Health Match in British Columbia. So that is where job seekers get matched with potential employers, as long as you have the required documentation and the certificates. You should have been able to pass your NCLEX exam to go through the registration process with the BC British Columbia. So once you go through that pathway, you are placed, in that pool where a lot of employers could actually see you and invite you for interview, and then you go for the interview. If you're successful, work permit follows, and you come in. Okay, and once you're in, you are always able to transition to permanent resident over time. Okay. Now, what's the benefit for foreign trained nurses? How does this express entry, benefit the foreign trained nurses? So for you guys in the health sector, you have a lot and lots of advantage because number one is that both the federal government has already created a pathway for you guys. Secondly, provinces have also created a pathway for you guys. If you look at the recent invitation, under the regular draws or the federal government invitations, I believe the lowest, the cutoff was about 535 or thereabout. That is the general federal government pool, where all occupations are put together and they get invitation based on their rankings. So if you look at that, it's highly competitive. The lowest score the last time was about 530 something or thereabout, which makes it a bit scary and competitive. Now, what's the good news? The good news for health professionals is that they have been segregated, they have been categorized, and a special pathway, category-based pathway has been created for you guys. The last invitation was about a few months ago, where 3,750 candidates were invited. These are specifically people that work under healthcare NOCs, that we have different NOCs for health professionals, the doctors, the nurses, the physiotherapists, and a lot of others. So because they've been kind of segregated in that pool, they do not face the same competition that other occupations face. The latest cutoff was 445. It was as low as 445. So instead of struggling to meet, get to the point where you get score over 500, which is highly competitive, with as low as 445, especially based on the last cutoff, you should be in. This figure might even drop. It depends on what they have in the pool. So your own advantage is that you've been singled out and prioritized because they want you in. Okay, so the requirements for nurses is now a little bit lower. Instead of fighting for 500 with 400 plus, you should be able to get invitation by the federal government. And while that is going on, you are also positioned to get a nomination from any of the provinces. Okay, so that is the benefit for you guys. Now, the processing timelines. for this application. So we are concluding now. Before you receive your ITA, it may take you up to 4 months, depending on how fast you are with your IELTS or whatever language test you're preparing to take, and also completing your academic assessment. So people, this will take them 1 month or 2 months to complete. So once this particular stage is completed, you are able to get in the pool and now expect an ITA. You'll be expecting the ITA from either the federal government or provincial nomination. Okay, so as of the time you receive the ITA, prepares your documents and submit the application for your permanent resident, the processing timeline will be around 6 months or less. Okay, so it's pretty straightforward. The next thing I will talk about before I leave the floor open for questions, because I believe we will not be able to expatiate on everything we're saying today. It's just to give you the highlights of what it looks like. I'm sure you will follow it up with further questions after now to get a bit more clarifications and then consultations as well. Okay. So I'm going to talk about the steps for those of you that may be interested in moving forward with us. So the first step will be to complete the permanent resident application forms on Sajpointe's website. This for us to determine your eligibility. We need to be sure you're a candidate we can work with, right? So once you fill that form, we will then schedule a meeting. We will now have an eligibility assessment, personal conversation. It's at that point I will get to know you more, understand some other your circumstances, right, and be able to determine what pathway will be suitable for you. So after meeting with us, we will have to, if you decide to proceed, we'll send you the return agreement for your review. You review the agreement and sign. After that, we will require at least 50% of our legal fees in order to commence the process. So once the 50% is paid, we will start the process, and we expect that the balance will be paid later on down the line when you already have your invitation to apply. So at the point of submitting your permanent resident application, you'll be expected to pay the 50% balance, as well as the application fees to the government. And of course, yeah, so after creating that profile, we will now wait to receive your ITA, okay? Once you receive your ITA, we'll send you a list of additional documents to provide in order to submit your permanent resident application. And then, of course, once you provide those documents and information, we will go ahead to submit your permanent resident application. And then, of course, you'll wait to receive instructions for biometrics and medicals. You go get your medicals done on biometrics, and then we follow up with immigration and keep updating you, as we proceed. Then the next step will be to receive your confirmation of permanent resident. As long as your application is approved, you receive your confirmation of permanent resident, and then, of course, the next thing will be to book your flight and come meet us here. Okay, so that's how it works. It's pretty straightforward. We would love to have a good number of you to restart your career in Canada. I know most of you are already working wherever you are, but we are happy to help you achieve the goal of, restarting your career again or advancing your career in Canada. Thank you so much. I think for now, I will leave the floor open for questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Barrister. Thank you so much. That was very explicit. We already have questions rolling in, and we can. I'm just going to. You can. It's in the chat box. If you want to, I think we should hold up first with the questions so more can come in. Would have Mr. Edward talk to us next on registering nurses in provinces for the NCLEX after they have arrived in Canada, after they've come to meet you guys there. So I will have the floor open for Mr. Edward to address us on that. And if I didn't, I think I introduced him before, but he's the head of licensure, Sajpointe Canada. And he's really, really informed about this process, and he's going to do justice to this. So, Mr. Edward, you can come on. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Chandra, for the good job the Sajpointe is doing. I'm happy that we are working together to make it happen. Okay, thank you, Barrister, for sharing all this detailed explanation on how to come to Canada, especially for nurses, internationally trained nurses. So, for all indication, the first thing to do will be to pass through the immigration process to get your documents. Because even when you must have passed your NCLEX exam and all that, if you don't have any document to work in Canada, you cannot work in Canada. So you need to get a legal document that will allow you to work in Canada, either work permit or permanent resident, which is called immigrant visa. In the US, it's called green card. So that is why he has given you a lot of information on what to do, on how to get this done and dusted. So once you pass through the process and then arrive in Canada, so you now start the process of registration, which is the second aspect of it. Because I was going through the website of College of Avatar of Nurse, Registered Nurses. So they said they frequently ask questions. They said that the first thing you should do is not just to start trying to see how you can, but pass through the immigration process once. Once you pass through the immigration process and get your documents sorted out, that the other one will not be an issue because each province have a lot of document information that is available for foreign trained nurses on how to register when you are in Canada, when you must have passed through the immigration process and come. For instance, where we are living, so they have a pathway called a substantial equivalence applicant. So that one is just like if you go through the website, because I've been going through the website for so many years, just trying to understand how it works. So they have like 5 simple steps that you can follow to get yourself registered. So one of them will be to create your account, then confirm your competency, demonstrate your eligibility, um, prepare for practice in Alberta, then pay and declare. So these are the 5 simple steps that you can follow. So once you follow that simple step, registering in Alberta is not going to be a problem. And they also have a kind of somebody, a consultant readily available to help you. You just need to sign up and they will be guiding you step by step on how to finish this process. Okay? Yeah, that is what it's all about. Even other provinces, the same thing. Ontario, Nova Scotia, they also have detailed process on how to pass through that. Like if you have your NCLEX exam already passed so you can start working on that to see if you will get your NCLEX exam sorted out before you come. So that would be a kind of added advantage. Once you're here, you already know that you're eligible to start practicing in Canada. So once you're here, you pass through the registration and then
Exactly.
you're good to go. You start
Mhm.
making big money here as RN. Yeah, so it's unfortunate that they don't do it in Nigeria, but if you I know they do it in Brazil. No, they say they do it in India, right?
Yeah, you can have the exam done in Canada, also in the other NCLEX centers all over the world.
Yes, yes.
So yeah,
Yeah.
thank
So
you.
once,
Yeah.
yeah. So once it's sorted out, then you can come here. Even if you did not, it's not possible for you to sort it out before you come to Canada. Once you're here, then you pass through the process, get the authorization to do the NCLEX exam, and then do that. So I am here to help you, give you all the details, all the information, all the videos, link, anything you need that will help you to pass this process from step one until you finish it. Yeah. Thank you so
Thank
much
you. So,
for your time. More
thank you
updates is
so
that.
thank you so much, Mr. Edward. That was a good one. So as we know before, Sajpointe, we do like the licensure. We've been doing it for the US, and one thing about, as he said, continue from what he said, as far when you get to Canada, when you register with any of the province you are in, and you are wanting to start, as if you don't have your NCLEX already, once you get your authorization to test from the province, we go ahead and search points. We register you with Pearson View. So you get your ATT, and once you do that, we're able to schedule you for your exam there in Canada, and you have it done, you pass, you get a job, and that's it. So you can either have your NCLEX already before you get to Canada, or when you get to Canada. But the key thing here that I have drawn from all this is that your permanent residence is should be priority getting that, because that puts you at the top of the food chain there. Because a lot of people can apply, okay, I have the NCLEX, I have this, but if you don't have that permanent residence, whoever, they would first of all go for nurses who are already there before they go for you that are still on that pathway to migrating. So starting your PR, or starting first with getting a job offer from one of the provinces, which we can help you in both ways, is all right. If you have your NCLEX already, I see a lot of questions here already. We're going to address each of those questions. Okay. Um, whatever it is, if you have your NCLEX already, you want a job offer, we can help you with that. And while you get the job offer, we start your PR process, and you're doing both hand in hand. Okay, you're working on your temporary license, temporary permits rather, which is what you get from your job offer. And while you get that work permits, then we start working towards your PR. So all this, we have a team that is dedicated and experienced to help you have a seamless experience through it. Okay. And one thing I've observed in this whole thing, I'm very invested in the US process, and now I'm understanding Canada. So we've actually had like a good number of nurses from Sajpointe successfully passed through like this through the Canadian process and are practicing now. I'm even amazed by it. It's something that is actually doable. And one thing I've been able to see here is that what sets nurses aside when it comes to this entire express entry process is that category-based draw. Being a nurse, and when you get nominated by the province, and that kind of like pushes your score. I think you get an extra 600 points when you get a job offer, and that's really boosts your score. And with that, you can easily get your ITA. So that's a very good one as a nurse, because they're in nurses, of course, were in high demand everywhere. You're in the US, in Canada, in Australia, everywhere. So that puts you at a good side when it comes to you comparing yourself with other professionals. Then number two is, if an average nurse, let's say from Nigeria, it's either, if you're an RN, it's either you have some kind of post basic qualification. It's either you have your RN, you have your RM, you have your RPH, those our alphabets. We have all of them. Your midwifery, your public health, whatever, your these post basic qualifications, we have them, and some of us also have our BSc. So all these extra qualifications gives you extra points on that express entry pool. It gives you extra points to your CRS score. So that's like a natural thing for nurses. We know and every, like me right now, even before while I had my BSN in Nigeria, I had my RM. at my RPH. Like it comes like a bundle. Like while you're in school, they say, you have to get this one, you have to get that one, because when you get out, you have a better chance of getting a job. So most nurses have this extra post-basic qualification, and that gives you extra points on the express entry pool. So you can grab onto that and enjoy that benefit, that's bonus that comes to being a nurse or an RN with all those post-basic qualifications, because it puts you ahead in this particular process. Okay, so I would just I would have I'll read up some of the questions, and I would have whoever can address us better in it answer the question. The first question we have here is, must the IELTS be general? I will have Barrister Obina answer that because he spoke on IELTS.
Yes, please. It must be general, as
Okay,
long as
okay.
it's for immigration purposes.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
so I know, yeah, thank you so much, Barrister Obina, for that answer. It must be general. And I believe you said that what's the cutoff for the IELTS general? I think they should have a list of 6 or 7.
At least with 6 you can get in, but target high, right?
Yes,
With 6
exactly.
on each of the components, you should be able
Ex
to get in, but
okay.
target the maximum.
Yeah.
Target so high. Yeah.
So the more you score on each of the subjects in the IELTS, the better your chances. And the good thing about IELTS General is that it's very easy compared to academic. We do academic for the US process, and for the UK, you do the academic. And you want to tell if you compare the reading components of your IELTS for general and for academic, trust me, general is like it's so easy. I've done both, so I'm talking from a first-hand experience. General is IELTS General is something is a particular IELTS that you can really get all those high scores as compared to the academic. And also for the writing aspect is also way easier for general than it is for the academic. So I know some of us here, like some of us are already on the US pathway. We have our IELTS already for our visa screen, but unfortunately we did the academic. Okay, so if you want to get on this pathway, you want to give it a try, just know you would have to take the IELTS again, and it has to be general. But the good thing, as I said, the general is way easier than the academic, and you have a better chance of getting high scores with the general. So I hope I answered that question. We hope we answered the question. The next question here is, what if you are above 50? Barrister Obina, if you would help us with that one, since you spoke about the age limitation. I think it's here. Okay, let me have Mr. Edward speak on that. Mr. Edward, will you help us with that one?
Okay, yeah, I can come in. Yes,
Sorry.
okay, go ahead,
Yeah,
Obin.
go ahead, Edward. Sorry, I didn't know I was muted. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, no problem. Yeah, if you uh if you are above 15, if you get into the express entry pool and get like 600 points, from additional 600 points from the pool, from the provincial nominee, that will also help you to pass through the process without any problem. Or maybe if you get like a job offer from those province that he mentioned in his slide, then you'll be fine. Although you will lose a lot of points under age, but because of the work experience, the job offer, the English proficiency exam at 600 points, then you'll be fine.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So what I got from that is that even if you're above 30, you still have the chance of getting your points from other categories or from other parameters used used for the express entry pool. So if you don't get any points from the age category, you can get points from your IELTS. You can be targeting, okay, my IELTS general, I want to go for the 888 or the 999s or whatever. For your post basic qualification, you have, as I said, as a nurse, your advantage was most time we nurses have all this extra qualifications to our school, to our academics, and also other, if you have siblings, just there are other parameters that they look at. So it doesn't just have to be age. So if you're 50, you still have a chance. And remember, being a nurse, that puts you at the top of the food chain. Okay, thank you for answering that, Mr. Edward. So the next question here says that I really this one kind of I don't know how it was um put together, but I'll just read it out. If anybody makes sense out of it, if Barrister makes sense out of it, you can go on. It says, if I have Nova Scotia licensure, if I have Nova Scotia licensure eligibility to apply, does count for me? I don't know if that makes any sense to you.
Yeah. Yeah, can you hear me? Hello? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, the issue of licensure is different from work permit, right? So if this person has passed through the licensure process, it is not an automatic permit to work. So you still need to go through the regular, work permit or PR pathway to be able to work, right? I believe that was the question.
Yeah, it was worded weirdly, but I think that answers it. I think so. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so if you have that license, it means you can actually work. So you're a better candidate to start, join the BC health match. Okay, because you cannot, oh, sorry, that is BC. You can't do it with BC. You can actually join the Canadian Job Bank, right? And streamline your application to Nova Scotia health employers. You should be able to get ahead with that. Otherwise, you need to kickstart your immigration process. But that's the most important thing, right?
thank you so much. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thanks for that. Okay, so another question here is, can you advise a 56 years old registered nurse to apply for any of this? Note, she has a master's degree.
Yeah, so it will be a combination of different factors, right? Being 56 years old is not the end of the journey. As much as I know that you may not be able to, um, accrue reasonable points for age, but you could actually get some points through other factors. As long as you're able to, you have a master's, which is fantastic. So if your English test is quite high and a few other factors, we'll be able to do the point grid on the CRS portal. That is the Comprehensive Ranking System portal to see where you will be at. But age will not actually be the only problem. As long as you have other things, we can put it together and you may still be able to qualify to get in the pool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you. That was very explicit. I hope that answered your question, Rafiat. And another one says, can diploma Nigerian nurse with BSc apply for this? I think we answered that already. Yes, you can. It gives you more points also. I'm sure as you have your BSc, you also have your maybe you have other post-basic qualifications with that too. That puts you also on a good side. Thanks for the question, Olani Pekun. So another question here says, do British Columbia accept diploma in nursing with NCLEX passed? Barrister, would you answer this? Your camera is off. Or if Mr. Edward can take this. Okay. Yeah, Mr. Edward, you can. You're mute. Yeah, sorry. Yes, you're
Yeah,
still
so
mute. Okay, good. We can hear you now.
you're talking about British Columbia, right?
Yes. So yeah. Um.
And she
So the
has a
RN, yeah, she has the diploma. Yeah. So they're asking if they can take they can accept this if NCLEX passed, which should be yes. Since you have your
yes,
NCLEX,
yes. Once you pass
yeah,
the NCLEX, then that will be you will be eligible to apply for a kind of when you get job offer, you can apply for work permit through that help.
yes,
But that will give
yeah,
you an opportunity to match with the potential employer in British Columbia.
Thank you so much. Yeah. So even if you have your diploma, you're not getting so much points from that. You already passed your NCLEX, you can get that job offer. And remember when you get that job offer, that's like an extra 600 points already to your CRS. So that puts you on the high side on the express entry pool. So yeah, passing the NCLEX is a very good one. So regardless of your diploma or you have a BSc or whatnot, passing the NCLEX alone, getting it, which can give you that chance of getting a job offer easily. Once you get that, as you know, we said before, it boosts your score or your points on the express entry pool. So yes, you can apply. Thanks, Rita, for that
So,
question.
sorry, just a quick correction. The job
Okay,
offer,
okay,
yeah, the job offer will not give you 600 points. It will be the nomination certificate, okay?
okay,
Nomination
okay,
certificate from a province will give you the 600. Job offer will give about 50 points. Just to
okay, okay,
clarify,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
Sorry,
So
yeah.
from the job offer, with the job offer, that is when you get the job offer, that is when you get the
Work permit.
PNP, exactly,
Work
the work
permit.
permits.
Mhm.
Okay. So Rita, I hope that answers your question. So another one says, please, what is ITA? Barrister, if you want to answer that, there's the invitation to apply. Yeah.
It's invitation to apply.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Next question. Please, I didn't hear anything about Nova Scotia. Please, I have a conditional license with them. Is there anything you can do to help? Um, Barrister, do you have an answer for that? This is from
Okay.
Kelechi. From Kelechi.
Okay. So, like I mentioned, Nova Scotia is also one of the provinces that offer a provincial nomination for nurses. So, if you have a conditional license, it means you still need to fulfill some conditions, right? To be able to perfect your license, but that has nothing to do with the actual permit to either work or live in Nova Scotia. You still have to go through the regular immigration process. Okay, it's still the same process. We can help you, but it has to go through the same steps that I have itemized earlier, right? Conditional license, you know, it has to do with the licensing organization. So perhaps they require one or two steps from you to perfect the licensure. But for work permit purposes and PR purposes, you will need to um, go through the same process.
Right. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
Thank you for that answer. Next, it says, what of those that are okay? What of those that are with U.S. agency, but due to retrogression has been stagnated do do you consider them? Secondly, what are the cost implications of the Canadian process? From Christiana, I would answer that since it has to do with the U.S. Okay. The thing here is that if you already signed to an agency for the US, there are two ways to this. Number one, if you want to change pathway because of the retrogression, first off, you should know the retrogression is still moving. The dates are getting are moving forward, so it just requires patience. And yeah, we have people still getting their visas, and it will get to your turn. It definitely, as I said, it's a turn by turn thing. Once it gets to you, it gets to you. The key thing here is that it's moving, even if it's slowly, but we're still getting some movement. So for individuals in this category, I know we have a lot of people in this category. Just know that if you want to change pathway, you want to leave the US pathway to the Canada, and you're already signed to an agency, first thing here is that you should know, are you able to pay off your agency that you have signed with? Okay, are you able to afford that? Can you pay off that agency or what they have spent? And you know, if you can afford that, you want to go that length, good. And not just the length, that point of you paying off the agency you already signed with, because you have to do this legally. Number two is, can you also afford the Canadian process? Because it also comes with some amount of fund that is also on the high side. So can you pay off the agency you're with, and can you afford the Canadian process, the PR process? Okay. So if you can do those, if you can do both, then and you feel you want to move, you want to relocate to Canada, good and fine. Yes, you can. But first of ensure that you are able to financially, stand or cover the cost implications of this, especially for the US, paying off your US agency, because you don't want to be on the bad side there legally. Okay, you have to be able to pay them off and before you proceed. So for the cost implication of the Canadian process, we are going to be sharing links. Okay, that link is like a pre-screen. He mentioned it. That's like the first step we do for if you're going to do this through Sajpointe, because my priority here is that we get value for whatever money we put in. Okay, so we do a pre-screen, and that pre-screen we are able to assess you on the surface. Okay, do we think this person has the criteria to be eligible or to really get this once they start? Okay, this is completely free. We're going to start sharing the link soon. I'm going to tell the admin to do that to be shared in the comment section. So once you do that, when we check you, we have our team here assess and check your answers and everything. And once we determine, okay, this person has a good chance of getting this, we'll send you an email on the next step where you get the full assessment and full one-to-one with the barrister. So first off, we do the pre-screen because I don't want you putting money into something and at the end of the day, you don't get the value for your money. So we have to pre-screen you first, determine that yes, you're eligible for this, you have a good chance with this before we proceed and say, okay, yeah, you have to start with the form. So one of the questions there in that form, when you fill it, when we share the link, is can you afford to pay $5,000 in installments? It's not going to be a one-time fee, but it's going to be like you said, there's a time where you have to pay 50% of the fee, another you pay the next 50%, and also the cost for your credential evaluation, cost for your IELTS, all those things are in that fee. So this is like an estimate. It can be more, and there can be miscellaneous expenses too. So question is, can you afford that? And also, can you afford to pay off your agency who started off with you? If your questions are yes, if the questions for the answers to those questions are yes, then yes, you can proceed. And I hope I answered your question, Christina. So next one here, it says, how can your organization help with someone who already had open work permits to Canada, residents in Nigeria, but yet to write NCLEX? Can you get healthcare assistant job while still processing NCLEX? Is US NCLEX different from Canada's NCLEX exam? Oh, okay. I think I just okay. Let me answer the second one. US NCLEX exam. The exams are the same. NCLEX for the US is same as NCLEX for Canada. So if you already have your NCLEX for the US, you definitely can use it for Canada. It's the same exam. I hope I answered that one. So the first question, I'll read it again. Um, how can Okay, so okay, how can your organization help with someone who already had work permits to Canada, residents in Nigeria, but yet to write NCLEX? Can you get health assistant job while processing NCLEX? There are like three questions there. We can help you write your NCLEX. We can help you write yourself for the NCLEX and pass the NCLEX. We have the NCLEX review classes. We can do that. So the first part, I answered that part of the question. The first part is um, how can an organization help with someone who already have work permits to Canada and residents in Nigeria? Okay, I think I answered that one. So pass the NCLEX and yeah, we'll proceed with the PR part where we can do that. So can we help with healthcare assistant job while processing NCLEX? For now, we're not doing the healthcare assistant jobs. We're going to introduce that later on in Touchpoint, but for now, we're not doing that. I think I answered all the questions there. It was kind of like modeled up. Um, I think I did, right? You guys agree with me, right? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm trying to ensure I'm on the right place here. Okay. Yes, so another one says I have temporary license from Nova Scotia and I am preparing NCLEX through Searchpoint. How can I migrate with this? Barrister answered this. He said it's still the same process, the same steps. Starting the PR, the permanent residence pathway. You fill the form, we check, we do the pre-screen, we assess you, and if we see you as very eligible, we'll reach out to you by email on the next steps to this. Barrister, did I answer that well for you? I did not see you were off camera, so I needed to step in.
I'm sorry.
Let's
I'm so sorry. I just attended
Yeah.
to something quickly. So it was the question, was it the one
I
that
Yeah, it says I have temporary license from Nova Scotia and I am preparing for NCLEX through Sajpointe. How can I migrate with this?
temporary license? What license? Is it NCLEX license or what? What was the temporary license? Or
Um temporary license. I think it's still that conditional license that this
okay,
person is saying here. She has not passed the NCLEX yet. She's yet to
just
take the
not.
NCLEX. So
Yeah,
she's saying, yeah, I think it's still the same
same
answer to the
process.
first. Yeah, same
Yeah.
process. Okay. Thank you for that. So another one says here, what happens when it's only one certificate with every other requirement provided? Is there a chance? What happens when it's only one certificate with every other requirement provided? Is there a chance on the poll? Barrister, yeah, I think there's a chance in the poll if you have all that criteria is good and you have one certificate at the education category, the academic category, yes, you still stand a chance. And of course, you're a nurse, so that helps you in the category based draw. Another question says, can registered nurse midwife working in Jamaica, but the person is from Nigeria apply? I am married and have a son. After getting the PRO and work permits, can my family come along? Okay, that's another question. So the first one says, can a registered nurse midwife working in Jamaica, but the person is from Nigeria apply?
I need
Who-
to take 5 minutes. Edward will be able to answer
okay,
some of
I'll
those
get that
questions.
to
I will
Edward.
just join you back in 5 minutes, please.
All right. So, Mr. Edward, can a registered nurse midwife working in Jamaica, but the person is from Nigeria apply? I think that should be a yes. Okay, we have a
Yes,
lot of questions coming in. Yes, of
yes.
course.
The answer will be
Okay,
yes. As long as they
okay,
have authorization to work in Jamaica, like work permit
all
to
right,
work in
all right.
Jamaica. Be a
Okay, thank
citizen
you
of
for that.
Jamaica. You can apply from there. It's not only in
Okay.
Nigeria. Mm.
Okay, so we're able to take you also if you're from every any other place, any other country, and provided you have that working license, your license as a nurse in that country, that's fine. This one says I am married and have a son. After getting the permanent residence and work permit, can my family come along? Mr. Edward?
So she's married and have a son, right?
Yes.
Yes, for permanent residence, you're allowed to travel with your child under the age of 22 years old.
Okay. Thank you
Yes.
very much. That
So
was
anybody
straightforward.
above 22 years, you can travel with the person, apart from your husband. So the children under the age of 22 years, you can travel with anybody at the same time.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So hope that answers your question. Another one says, will getting a job offer from any of provinces need on pass need to pass through the board of nursing registration first? If so, which step will you advise to get started with? Will getting a job offer from any of the provinces need? Okay, this English is so I think what I'm getting here is it's saying the board of nursing. Okay, how to get started if you want to, would you have to go through the Board of Nursing registration? If you say Board of Nursing registration, it's looking like you're talking about the US process. Um for Canada, it's different. As we said, we're working more on you getting that permanent residence, which you can get before or after you pass the NCLEX. So yes, you can also still be trying to get your NCLEX um um NCLEX licensure, like pass your NCLEX with registering through the normal board of nursing in the US, provided it's still the same NCLEX. Once you get your PR and you have your NCLEX, provided that regardless of where you had it from, it's still the same NCLEX, and yes, you can get a work permit from that. I think that's the way, I think that's what you're trying to ask. The question is kind of somehow it wasn't worded properly. But yes, if you are already on the board of nursing registration with US, you can still proceed. Just get your ATT, pass your NCLEX. Once you pass your NCLEX, and while you're doing that, you're on the PR process too. Both of them, once you get your PR, you already have your NCLEX. You can easily get your job offer even while you're in the express entry pool. Remember that boost your score when you get like the PMP, as they said, gives you additional 600 points, as the barrister said. And yeah, so sure, you can get it done that way. Another one said, if my document is already under review with West, can I still proceed with the processing? Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Yes, you can,
Um,
but try to finish the assessment as quickly as possible. Then
okay, thank you.
if you don't have bachelor degree in nursing, you can use ICAS. For instance, if you have diploma in nursing, you can use a different body to do the assessment so that you get it. Because if you use WES for your for diploma in nursing, they usually give like not academic, they call it like 3 years training, but not academic. So ICAS will give you 3 years academic training, which will help you to get additional points if you have like bachelor degree and the other one diploma. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. Please, are you saying while waiting for US, we can't be doing the Canada process? I think it's still related to the question I answered before. You can do it. As I said, you can do it. Also, it all depends on your financial capacity also. If you want to just do it, okay, while I want to go for the one that maybe I'm able to get first. Okay, you want to just try, okay, I'll be doing the US and the Canada, whichever one, actualizes first, and I'll go for it. Yes, you can. Because in that, for that part, you don't have to pay off your agency. You can say, okay, I can afford this. You want to pay for the Canada process and be doing both. Yes. So whichever one, you know, gets you that visa first, you go for it. Yes, you can do it that way too. Okay. Or you want to pay off your agency and fully focus on Canada. But in all, as I said, you have to be whatever your decision is. If you want to leave finally cut off from the US process, you should have to be able to pay off your agency and ensure you can afford the Canada process. Because I don't want you being in the middle when you have nowhere. You understand? So at the end of the day, we are still after you successfully migrating to either Canada or to US, wherever it is. But ensure that before you make any decision, you understand the financial implication of it, and ensure you are able to back that up. Okay. I hope that answers your question. Um, it's a lot of here. Getting it. Okay. Most PMP require licensure. How can we navigate through it? The licensure is still true. Search points will help you get that licensure. Um, you can be processing the NCLEX while you're on the PR pathway. You can be working towards getting your NCLEX, being classes, get you registered for your licensure, and you take your NCLEX. That still boosts your score, and it still like goes um round like still the same steps to it. So we can help you with that licensure. Um, I am preparing for NCLEX through Sajpointe, but I want to migrate before writing I am preparing for NCLEX through Sajpointe, but I want to migrate before writing NCLEX. Can I get job while I prepare for NCLEX? Um, Edward.
Yeah, I think it's
um,
going to be difficult because you're not eligible to work. So getting a job as a nurse is going to be a problem. Yeah, but if
Yes.
you have your NCLEX pass already, then that means you're eligible to practice in Canada. You can do that. So just
So what?
focus on your immigration process. So when you're done with that and you're here, you can continue with the entrance exam.
All right. So there are two ways to do it. If you already have your NCLEX, you can start this by the job offer, apply for a job offer, you get a job offer, you get your PMP, start your get work permit, start the PR process. You can do that way if you already have your NCLEX. If you don't have your NCLEX yet, you can be working towards that while you apply directly for the express entry, the PR. So for those that have NCLEX, you start with the job offer pathway, which will help you with. Okay, you still have to fill the same pre-screen form from Sajpointe. If you don't have your NCLEX, it's still the same step with Sajpointe. You fill the pre-screen form, but the only thing is that you don't start with the job offer, because to get a job offer, you need your NCLEX. So while you're on that pathway, you're preparing for your NCLEX, and you already start the PR process, and it works hand in hand. But whatever way we're able to guide you on the right on how to go through each steps. Is there hope for someone who has been denied Canadian visa for about 4 times? Reason for denial has always been economic situation and family ties. I think I want the barrister to answer this if he's here. Barrister Obin, are you here now? If not, Edward, you can take this, right?
Yeah, if it depending on the reason, so if the reason is not too bad, then no problem. Because barrister will also look at all those rejection letters to see
Yeah.
what was the problem, what went wrong, and all that, and all the document that you submitted. He will go through everything, and then based on that, suggest to you or recommend this is what you will do and what you will not do. So applying for a visa and getting visa rejection is not a problem, but the reason why it was refused is always an issue.
Okay, thank you so much. That I think that answers it completely. I think we've covered the questions for now. And so yeah, we've been able to talk about the different pathways, the Federal Skilled Workers Program, PNP, step-by-step process for application through Sajpointe, registry nurses in provinces for the NCLEX after they've arrived in Canada. And we've been able to attend to all your questions. If there are more, please you can always reach out to us by email or reach out to our customer care representative. We'll be able to connect you with the Canada team. And for the pre-screen application form, we will have our admin right now share it in the comment section. Okay. So please, if you're interested, you just even want to see, okay, I want to just see if I'll be eligible. Let me do the pre-screen. It is free of charge. We are not charging you anything for it because I don't want you to put money in something that will not yield results. So that's why I introduced the pre-screen. Okay. So the link is going to be shared in the comment section. Okay. So please, you can click on it, fill the form, fill it, and we will get back to you. If we see you are eligible, if we see you have a good eligibility, we'll reach out to you on the next steps from there. Okay, so we'll have let me see. We
Sorry,
have our
bef
barrister, you were saying?
yeah, before you conclude, I know your
Um,
is your farewell speech.
no, not really. Now, if you still have something to say, yeah, I'm going to get to you. Thanks for yeah. I was
Okay,
waiting for you. I needed you to come, but yeah,
I'm
that's
so
okay.
sorry. I'm so
Yeah,
sorry. Something came
yeah.
up in the office, so I just needed to, but I'm
Okay,
fine
I
now.
know this is
So
like work hour for you.
yeah, it's
I
work
appreciate you
hour.
being here. Yes, I know you're very busy with all the applicants. All right, so
It's
we
okay.
would have I think the link should have been shared right now. Timmy, do you have the link shared? I think it is. So please, you can click on it, fill the form, answer all the questions there, and submit. It's going to go to our license to our Canada team will have it reviewed. If you don't get an email from us, it means that we don't think you are a good candidate for this. If you get an email for us, it shows that we know, not think, we know that you would get this is going to be a good one for you. It shows that you are eligible for this, and we see a very good chance, the 99.9% chance that you will get this going. So please fill the form. I think the link, let me see. It's being shared now. Um, all right, yeah. So the link has been shared. So please click on it and have it fill the form. And if you get an email from us, it shows we see you as eligible for this. If you don't, it shows that we don't think this is the right path for you. Okay, so you don't start what you don't put funds in something you're not going to get value in. So I will have Barrister Obina say some things. I think he still has some things to say.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm not sure. I just saw a simple question that popped up. I'm not sure if it was answered. I just want to give a straightforward answer to that. Is the question about someone who has been denied Canadian visa? Has it been addressed?
You can talk on it. I needed you to speak on it actually. So Edward helped, but you can still talk. You can still speak, being the barrister. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, even if you are denied visa for 4 times, it's a reason for denial has always been economic situation and family ties. Okay, yeah, my imagination here is that the type of application you must have submitted in those 4 times must be temporary resident application, right? What we are discussing today is a permanent resident application. Those issues there will not arise regardless, even if you want to submit another temporary visa application, we will still have to, work it out in a way that you address those concerns the visa officer had raised previously. But just know that what we are dealing with today, if you decide to go through this process, is permanent residence. So there's no idea of economic ties or family ties because they already know that you're coming down here, you want to live here permanently. So there's no issue of ties at that point. Is it clear? So you are still welcome to apply. You don't have any issue. As long as it's not a ban, you're not banned, right? You're not banned because of criminality or misrepresentation, then you're free to apply. Okay.
Thank you so much. That was very good. Thank you. Thank you. That was very informative. Yeah, so also remember we still have that pre-screen form and fill that. You still get more of this. If you still have questions, definitely Barrister will be able to address them once you get to that assessment level. Okay, so the link has been shared. Do that, and we're going to be running off now. I don't want to go past 1 hour 30 minutes because I know it's late time and we have most of us here in the meeting from Nigeria, and I know it's about going to like 11 o'clock now. So I don't want to take more of your time. So we want to appreciate you for making it to the live event. And I hope it was informative enough. Remember, if you have any questions, you can reach our customer. Do you have something to say, Mr. Edward?
Yes, before you close,
Okay,
I'm
please.
just
Okay,
seeing,
okay. Let me have Mr. Edward say something, please. Okay.
yes, I'm just seeing a question that is popping up.
Okay.
So that question is, what about using PTE in place of IELTS? Yeah, it's allowed. You can use that one too. Even
No.
SEPUP. I think SEPUP is in Nigeria now.
Awesome, awesome. It's also on that screening form. You will see, do you have IELTS or CELPIP or PTE, whichever one you have. So it's accepted. Those are the three English proficiency exams that are accepted for Canada. And yes, you can have either of them. So yes. So as I said, I think we are two speakers here. I don't think they have anything more to say. Am I free to round up?
Yeah, you can round up. Thank you so much for everything.
Okay, thank you.
Aristotle
So
and Sandra Sajpointe. I am
thank
super
you.
proud of being part of you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Barista. Thank you so much, Mr. Edward, for making it to the meeting. Together, we're going to help our nurses. We're a strong, formidable team, and with your experience in this and your dedication and everything, I know soon by next year we should have most of our nurses, successfully crossing to Canada. So thank you all for joining us for this event. And please, if you have any questions, we still have the same number for a customer care representative. We'll have an admin drop at Timmy. You can share our customer care rep number there. Share it, and also the academics admin email. You can reach us there and sure you fill the form too. And have a good day. Have a good night wherever you're joining us from. And bye.
Bye. Thank you,
Right,
guys. Yeah.
right.